Hello, welcome to Friends Call Me Jules. I'm Jules and I'm so excited if you're watching this video because that means the algorithm found you, and I don't know how it did, but I'm glad that it did because this is a brand new channel. It's a lifestyle channel, and maybe about a month ago it debuted. I have a short 10-minute video that'll give you an overview of why I created the channel, what I intend to do with the channel, how I would love to see the channel grow, and a little bit maybe about me. So if you're interested, you can go and find that video and you can watch it. But this is my second video, which will kind of feel like a first video because this is my attempt at a long form video. So I'm kind of excited, but also kind of nervous. I did so many takes that I'm exhausted because I'm not a front-facing person. I don't create videos, not even on Instagram or TikTok. So I'm like really going in, starting off with YouTube. So grant me some grace, you know, if I kind of flow on my words and misspeak a little bit, you know, be a little patient because all of this is brand new. Editing, everything that has to do with creating any kind of content, I am a total newbie. Not really newbie to technology, but newbie to creating and editing and entering this space. So let me get started. My first video is going to be about houseplants. I'm an avid houseplant collector. My collecting has actually slowed down. I only have about 2 or 3 wish list plants left, but I love plants. As you can see behind me, I do really like, I guess some people collect other things and I collect plants, but I do know that many people collect plants. There's a big community out there and I'm part of the community. I do have, you know, plant friends and people that I actually do very nerdy things in my area with when it comes to plants. So I felt like this would be a really good first topic for me to tackle because it's something that I'm familiar with and I know that there's an audience for it. So this video is going to be shot in frames. This is going to also be an overview, but an overview of the plants that I have in my apartment, where they live, and what kind of conditions that they're in. You won't hear me talk about individual plants or anything too specific. I just wanted to share my conditions because I would say I'm an experienced plant parent, but I also am very specific in how I collect. I collect plants that I feel can survive in average household conditions. I live in the Northeast, so we definitely go through all of the seasons. And I'm kind of a lazy plant parent. And that means that, yes, I have humidifiers that I can put in every room, but many times I don't run them in the winter because I'm just slack and I forget. And so, so sometimes they don't get moisture in the winter, which is, you know, which sucks for them. But that's why I also know like which plants I should collect and which are a good match for me. And so my hope is that, you know, just showing you plants that can survive in regular household conditions, even in the Northeast where it gets cold, and you may need, you know, again, supplements. You don't, you know, you may need it, but they can get by without it. And I don't mean that in the way where like I'm not giving them optimal care. Well, maybe I'm not giving them optimal care, maybe. But what I mean is that they can survive and that the environment that they're in is enough for them to still live and thrive, actually. So as I go through each room, what you'll see again is where they are, what kind of support I do provide for them, and how they do in those environments and with the little that I do provide. And I feel bad saying that, and that's why I'm like hesitating and pausing because as I say it out loud, it just sounds so awful. But I really do take the time out to make sure that my plants are taken care of properly. I do find the right potting soil for them. I do make sure that I find, you know, really mild and beneficial fertilizers for them. I repot them. I grow them in clear nursery pots so I can see the health of the roots. Let's see, what else do I do for these guys? They do have grow lights. So, you know, let me not ramble too much about how I don't take care of plants, but let me refocus and stick on topic regarding how I'm able to collect the plants that are good for me and my lifestyle and my experience level and my environment. So I don't remember already. I'm having a brain fart and I can't recall whether I shared the format of how this video was going to go, but I'm going to basically go through each room and show you the plants and just talk a little bit about the conditions in each room so that you can see how they live, what their environment is like, and then we will come together in the end and I will kind of summarize this video. So hopefully I do a good job at editing. Again, video number 2, and I'm just jumping in. I guess I can try and learn these things by playing around and seeing if I can get good at editing and, you know, speaking on camera and all those, you know, everything that you should do when you prepare, you know, before you launch. But in this case, I think if I try and do that, it's just going to take me so much longer to launch. And, you know, 2026 is my year. I don't know why I feel that, but I do. So in 2026, I'm just jumping off into the deep end. So here we go, getting ready to go through each room and talk about plants. And I'm going to put it out there that I'm going to do good editing, and you're going to enjoy the video, and you're going to come back and you're going to see what else I put out and what else I talk about, because I will have things that will be of interest. So here we go, and come and join me around my apartment. I won't show you the whole apartment, not unless Summer Rain Oaks is gonna come and do a houseplant video tour. I'm gonna, you know, preserve some of my privacy, so you'll be looking at windows. But here we go. It'll all make sense in the end. So ready, let's go. We are back, and we are here in my living room, which you were able to see behind me. But now I'm going to walk around and get closer so that you can see the plants and where they are and what they have that helps them to thrive in my space. Above this plant, which is a Philodendron D. McDowell, above him it's just LED lights, nothing special. But what I've been told about this guy is that he can pretty much live in, I don't want to say any conditions, but it is a crawler, so it would live on the forest floor. And this guy does fine with just these LED lights right here. And as I go closer here, Frederick Fig is here. I do have plants in the window. That is actually a grow light there, what you see. That is a Soltech Solution aspect light. I chose that for a couple of reasons. I'll just give you maybe a few. One is because I like the way that the lights were engineered. I can't recall all the details, but I did do my homework on the website, and I really appreciated the research that went along with it. I also liked the way that they looked. I know that there are many other brands out there now, but I think when I bought these, Soltech was kind of new in the game, and I really liked them. They just kind of fit right in the corner there, and the light they produce is really, really nice. Nice for the plants and a nice light in the apartment. And right now it is March, I'll say that. And we started off with rain, and now it's snowing. So again, on these dreary days, like, these lights really produce nice lighting, sorry, for the plants. I used to have more in these shelves during the pandemic, but I scaled down a lot. It was just so many that I couldn't keep up with them. But I have these guys in the window here and some plants on the windowsill, which I really wanted to keep the windowsills clear because it's just too many plants. But you know how it is. So also have, you know, these guys there. This long plant that's variegated string of hearts that I had to chop. He was going all the way down to the floor. And again, living room. That's a large Hoya in the window. It does bloom. And in this corner, another aspect light. And I have 2 Wally Grow planters there. I had 3, but I felt like it was too much. It was getting too crowded. And all of these plants here are large plants, and they've sized up, except for that guy on the white table there. Like, don't look at him because that's a peace lily, and it was acting out. So now it's, you know, it's getting a little happier, but it was acting out. But anyhow, all of these plants here have grown a lot. They've sized up so much. You can possibly even see the plant that's on the moss pole that's closer to the wall. You can look towards the bottom and you can see smaller leaves, and then you can see the larger leaves. And this huge plant that's like directly in front of me, it was called Philodendron Goldii, but I can't remember what they renamed it. But as you can see, some of its leaves, and then this big guy here that's going all the way to the ceiling. And as you can see, if I come closer, you can see how small the leaves were and how much it sized up. Like, look at those leaves, how large they are. And yeah, I think I'm going to let this plant actually go to the ceiling. I just want to see what it'll do. I'm really curious. I know at some point I have to chop it, but just not ready to do that yet. Neither am I ready to chop this Jose Bono here. I'm not ready to chop him yet. I think I'm gonna let him go up this summer and just see how tall it gets. But this is the living room. I am backing away a little bit just so you can, again, have another overview. I have an open floor plan in my living room and kitchen. Sorry for the ambulance. This is New York City, so it's noisy. Yeah, so this is an open floor plan in my living room, so the kitchen is behind me. And these guys probably do okay with humidity because whenever I'm cooking, they get the steam and they somehow, again, manage. But these are my living room plants here. This is my dog, Hazel. Hello. And she doesn't bother the plants. So that's really good. But this is the living room. Next up will be my bedroom. These are the plants that live in my bedroom. My bedroom is on the northwest facing side, as is the living room. I forgot to mention that. But as I pan around, you can see like where the plants are. So that's kind of it for the bedroom. Not a lot, but not a little either. So this northwest facing window gets light in the morning up until about, I would say, noon at its brightest, and then 2, 3, 4 o'clock, you know, it's just, you know, ambient light, like not really bright, almost indirect light. So that's what this crawler will get, but it seems to do fine. And these guys here do fine as well too. It's not direct sun because they get morning sun, and then by midday going into the afternoon, you know, it's not intense, but it's just the indirect light. I do have a grow light here. That's a Soltech, just a light bulb. The fixture did come from them. It was on sale, so I got a really good deal on it. You can wait until like they have sales that are like 20, I think 15-20% off, and you'll do okay with them. But this grow light provides enough, I think, ambient light for them. This plant is probably not the happiest, but you know, he does okay. I'll probably put it back in the living room. But these three are Hoya, and this is enough light for them. So this bedroom is not the largest, typical small New York City bedroom. It does get dry in here in the winter when I run the heater, but the plants seem to do okay. And that is with me forgetting to fill this humidifier. It's pretty pathetic because it's right in front of me. It looks at me and reminds me that it's here. But I think maybe because the plants don't demand it, I know that I can get away with it, and I tend to forget to fill it. But these guys do fine in average apartment temperatures, which I would say in the winter, running the heat, I probably keep it at like about 65 at night. And during the day, I'll run the heat at about like 75 just to really warm up the apartment and, you know, kind of keep it cozy. And I turn it off at night. So that's kind of what temperatures are like. And this room is dry. It is a dry bedroom. And maybe it does get some of the humidity that comes from the kitchen if I leave the door open. But, you know, it's mostly a dry bedroom, and these guys do okay. And that's pretty much it for the plant bedrooms. I'm sorry that I just keep going back and forth because I really don't have a lot in the bedroom. I used to, of course, but this is what I can care for, you know, optimally without having too much plants. So I will take you into the next area. This is a unique area that actually has a lot of potential, unused potential, because I have the skylight here. I have these three plants here. I do have this large wall here that I know that some would probably put plants on, but I don't think I have the bandwidth for that, so I just haven't done that. And under the skylight is this little area, and it's wasted potential because the dog crate is there. But unfortunately, it was the only place I can put it because where the crate used to be, the dog got kicked out. And there's a record player now. So with this space here, I would say that this is a really neutral space in terms of temperature because it probably stays at around 70-ish, 60s, 70s in the winter, and it gets the more direct steam from like when I'm cooking. So these guys do well here, but of course I have snake plants on the wall, so they're not that fussy. This is an Anthurium crystallinum. Yeah. And so it could be doing better, but it's here and it's okay. And so, yeah, so this is a unique place, a unique spot, and I could do more with it. But as of now, like this is all I have in this area. So now we're in my daughter's room, and this side of the house is southwest facing. So she gets really great sunlight that comes through her room. And these are the plants that live in her room. She probably wouldn't like me being in here, but I'm showing you guys the plants. So I used to really take advantage of her space and kind of encroach on it. But again, I don't have the time that I used to really optimally care for plants. So the collection has grown smaller, but you know, we do, you know, keep some plants in her room. Again, southwest facing window, so she gets the best sunlight. These are, three of them are Hoya here. You know, this guy gets, you know, light coming from the door here. And yeah, these guys inside this little cage get light. What she used to have in this corner, she used to actually have a Raphidodora tetrasperma, and it grew from here all the way up, and it was actually going around the ceiling here, like near the, we kind of, you know, I can't, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. But we actually managed to kind of, you know, anchor it on the wall here, and it wrapped around, you know, the curtain rod, and it was really super cool, but it started to decline. And so we chopped it up and gave away all the cuttings. But yeah, she has a great room for plants because she has a southwest windows. I'll step back a little bit so that you can see how, like, this door and these windows, the light will really, it'll come all the way across the room and it will reach this plant here. So again, great room, great space. And I'll walk you this way a little bit just to show you this door because it's here. Again, the weather is not so good, but this is a little small balcony that I have, and you can see a trellis there, maybe, but I have grown vegetables back here. I've grown herbs back here. These are rail planters. I have some going on the other end of the balcony. I guess you can't really see it, but I've grown tomato trees. I've grown cucumbers here. More trellises here. Well, you can't see it. But yeah, but I've used this balcony to grow lots of things. If I want to be specific, I will say broccoli, I'll say lettuce, spinach. Yeah, I've grown so much back here, and it's a lot of fun. Haven't done it in the past couple of years because my time has just been really limited. But yeah, great space for plants and growing things outside. And this is my daughter's bedroom. My son also has the other southwest facing window, and his room is like a cave. So I stopped trying to hoard plants in his room. But this is, again, daughter's room, southwest facing windows. So this concludes the houseplant apartment tour of my plants. Thank you so much for sticking around and for following me to each room and for making it to the end of this video. One of the things I learned is that I have to do more plant videos. There was so much that I wanted to tell you about each room and each area that I felt like I had run out of like the visual material, so to speak, you know, versus like how much I wanted to say. So definitely we'll be doing, you know, more plant content where I can also visually focus on what I would like to share, and there'll be that good, you know, ratio of what you're looking at versus what I'm speaking about. So more plant videos coming for sure. I did realize, even walking around in each room, how deliberate I was about where I placed the plants. Like initially, it was like when choosing where I wanted to put plants, obviously it was by the windows because they get the natural light. And then the other part of it was, where did I want plants in my home? Like how much space did I want to take up? And I think I found a good balance, as well as a good place for them to thrive. So they all, you know, do well near the windows or adjacent to the windows at some point. The grow lights seem to supplement them all well. And again, general apartment conditions, winter northeast in the 60s in my apartment. If I'm cold and I really want to be cozy, I may pump the heat up in the 70s, but then turn it off. So average temperature is like 60s in my apartment. No humidifiers, maybe open space from the cooking. The plants get some humidity. I think probably the grow lights near the couch must really work very well, because that's where the plants like really sized up. And that corner back there actually gets less light, because when the sun goes down, especially with the northwest facing windows, when they go down, that corner just gets like darker than being directly in front of the window. So between the grow light, that one coming on a little bit earlier, and that light being like the light I use just for the living room, it probably runs from like 3 or 4 p.m. all the way until like about 11 o'clock. And maybe that's why those plants are sizing up. But for everyone else, they probably get about 4 hours on average of the grow lights. They'll come on like about 3, 4 o'clock, and then they'll turn off between like 8, 9 o'clock. So not a lot of time with the grow lights on, but again, the plants seem to be doing okay, and they have what they need. So thank you again for getting to the end of this video. If you have any questions, definitely pop them in the comments. If you feel like I missed anything regarding, the setting where I have the plants, and maybe something related to the space, please pop that in the comments. If there are any suggestions, I would love to hear them. But, that's pretty much it. In a nutshell, that's the apartment. I know that there's so much more plant potential here, and maybe when I have more time in my life, I'll collect more, or I'll find different areas in my space where I may want to put the plants. But for right now, I feel like I have a good number, and I feel like I have my collecting down to a science, to where even if the plants that I have are unusual, or, some of them may have been rare during the pandemic and now they're just more so uncommon, but even they do well. Like when I began collecting, and as I, became more experienced and wanted to spread my wings a little bit and collect like uncommon and rare plants, one of the things I did worry about was, do I have the environment for it? So I think I'd learned to, again, be very discerning about what I pick, and then finding the right spot in my apartment, and, doing my due diligence, taking care of them in a way that I know that works with my lifestyle. I think that might maybe be a factor for some people also. So I find myself wanting to say more, and, not wanting to ramble. When I try to say more but do it in a short amount of time, it makes me ramble. That's one of my Achilles heels, is I feel like I'm trying to get everything out, and then it makes me ramble, and I don't want to do that. So again, this is a sign that I have to do more plant videos, and I look forward to just creating more and sharing more topics. I think my next topic might be my products that I use, face products, beauty products. I don't know. I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of, again, more plant videos. Let's see. I have a couple of topics kind of, churning around in here. So please stick around. Please come back again. And thank you also for watching. I super appreciate if you are still here. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.